Hello everybody. Today I'm at Newcastle University and I'm talking to Dr. Gary Robertson and he's going to explain a bit about sports psychology to us. So this will be quite interesting. We're rowing in this race for over 50 days. There's going to be some challenges along those times, particularly as there's not going to be very much for us to see apart from some sea for 50 days. So maybe the conversations will get a bit interesting. So we thought this was an area in which we ought to explore and see if it can help us. So I'm going to have a chat to Gary now. Hello Gary, great to meet you and coming to see you here at Newcastle University. First of all, can you tell us a bit about sports psychology and what it's about?
Yeah, so I guess sports psychology first really developed when, probably about 30 years ago, when people were trying to figure out, especially with elite athletes, why were they so good? So why is it that people who won Olympic medals, world championships, what was it about them, their personality, their kind of how they trained, their confidence, and so people started researching that kind of side of things. And then when they understood that, the goal to that was to understand and then to use that with other athletes to help improve their psychology.
Now we're not going to be classed, I think, as Olympic athletes or championship athletes, but we are obviously doing a potentially a 50-day race. How do you think your services will help benefit us?
Yeah, so I think when I was first approached, it really made me think about what are the kind of psychological and emotional demands of what it is you're doing. And that's where I kind of thought about the three different phases. So there's obviously the preparation phase leading up to the race. There's doing the race itself, and then there's after the race. And I think each of those will have its own particular psychological demands. Certainly that kind of lead up phase, there'll be issues around kind of maintaining motivation, issues around self-doubt, so kind of thinking, why am I doing this? Am I crazy? Is this the right thing to do? And kind of, I guess, helping people to kind of manage those kind of, and I think the self-doubt is natural, and helping people recognize that and how to manage that.
Yeah. I suppose the four of us, we won't know each other that well prior to the race. I suppose we'll get to know each other a bit more over the next year or so. I suppose it's trying to get us to gel together, even though we've got different personalities.
It is. So I think that's going to kind of be a consistent theme throughout the different stages, really, is how as a four are you going to be together? How are you going to function? How are you going to deal with conflict? I guess each of you will have strengths and kind of weaknesses, and to kind of figure out how do we fit together as a team.
After sort of 1 week on the water and we've run out of conversation, we now know exactly about everything about each other. What do you think the conversation is going to be like on the boat?
That's going to be a real challenge, and I guess that's one of the things to think about before you go and think about meeting as a team, is exactly around that. Are we going to feel the need to talk to each other for 50 days, or actually is it going to be okay when we do run out of conversation? And as I was discussing with you earlier, because everyone has different personalities, it might be that for some people they're quite happy just to sit in silence, where others will be a lot more chatty. So I guess it's just kind of thinking about how that all fits together, normalizing it, and just to recognize that everyone's different. Because for some people there'll be nothing worse than feeling like they're being made to speak when they don't want to. So it's a real challenge, that.
So our sort of plan going forward is to meet up with you as a group and have a conversation about the journey, and then you'll give support to everybody in terms of if they want to have a conversation during the course of that sort of next 12 months. And I think what you said to me also earlier was, after the event, when maybe we haven't talked to each other for a little bit of time, it would be good to have a sort of debrief, and make sure we get back on terms with each other, or if we've fallen out during that process.
It is. So I guess there's two challenges. There's the challenge of the individual. So how am I going to cope with this? Then there's a challenge of how are we going to cope with this all together? And so offering the kind of get together with myself as a facilitator is to help people yourselves as a team to think about that, but then also to offer kind of individual sessions to help people think individually about how are they going to manage this. And then, as you say, also afterwards, a kind of debrief service or opportunity to come and speak to me. And I think that's because research has found that often when people have had a lifelong goal, for example, climbing Everest, that actually when they've achieved it, they can be met with a huge sense of was that it?
Yeah.
So that it doesn't. People will be left with very conflicted feelings of euphoria and feelings of was that it, and also, well, what do I do now? To have been so focused on achieving something, which is an incredible thing to do.
Yes, I think I'm beginning to realise, what a challenge we've set ourselves, and I'm very thankful that Newcastle University and yourself are going to support us on that journey. So thanks very much.
That's okay.